Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. So in the first update of the day, you guys are looking at a recent post by Chris Bumstead. He did say in the caption that this was from a little while ago, but from taking a look at Chris, I'm gonna assume it was from within the last 1 to 3 weeks. Now he definitely looks a lot better in this update than what I seen in the update with him with Hunter Labrada. And with Chris working with Honey, as you guys seen, Derek was supposed to be Mr. Olympia of the 212 years ago, and as soon as he started working with Hunter Labrada, he achieved it. So I'm even more confident in Chris placing this year to retain the title. And going into next year, I feel like him and Honey are going to be able to do some great work. And I believe somehow Chris Bumstead still isn't at the weight cap. Unbelievable, actually. He might be cheating, but great update from Chris Bumstead. Excited to see him in December. And switching over to some open bodybuilding, we have a recent update from Hunter Labrada, 7 weeks out from this year's Olympia. And one thing I know for sure, even if Hunter isn't able to maintain his 4th place position or move up, he would definitely be improved. Arguably, Hunter looks better right now than what he did on stage. Could still be a touch sharper. But the main question is going to be, can Hunter peak properly? Even though he was in good condition last year, he was still a little bit watery. Honestly, still holding on to a little bit of fat. Maybe could have used the extra week or two. But hopefully Ben Chow is able to peak Hunter properly for this show. Now, the next update of the day, we have a recent guest posting from Akim Williams. Now, as you guys know, I've been talking about him a lot, saying don't forget about him. He can definitely be within the top 10. Now, 7 weeks out from this year's Olympia, Akim is definitely behind the other competitors as far as conditioning, and there may be a sign that he could be off at this year's Olympia. I'm still hoping that Akim is able to bring it in, but with his track record, we really wouldn't be surprised if he came in off. But still wishing you the best, Akim. Now, the next update of the day on the left is the most recent update from Behrooz Tabani. On the right is the most recent update from Wilkin. These are supposed to be the top 2 at the Romania Pro in 2 weeks. And hopefully Behrooz is still doing this show. Every post he puts up, he kind of uses a motivational comment, so I'm not really sure if he's still competing. Hopefully he gets there. Wilkin is still looking pretty good, hoping to win this show and qualify for this year's Olympia. And if you guys were wondering, Romania is the last show to qualify for this year's Olympia, so I don't think Good Vito is going to make it in this year. Now, switching over to James Hollingshead, this is a recent update from him. And let me know what you guys are thinking about James right now as far as how he will place at this year's Olympia. You know, top 10, top 12. It's going to be so hard to place these guys all the way up until 16th. I mean, we have guys like Hassan, Charles Griffin, Rafa Brandao, Blessing, Antoine Valant, James Hollingshead. I feel like all of those guys are very, very close and could end up in the same call-out. But interested to know what you guys think of James. A lot of people think very highly of him. Now, switching over to Alfred Chiriac. Now, Alfred kind of made a name for himself, placing 2nd at the Tsunami Pro behind James. This guy has crazy conditioning, and he's coached by Patrick Tour. Now, Alfred is competing in the Europa Pro, so it probably would have been a battle between him and Marc Hector. But as I mentioned in the last video, Marc has shut it down for the rest of the season. And also, Alfred did place ahead of Marc in the Tsunami, so he should be the favorite to win this show. And he's probably going to earn a Mr. Olympia qualification. Now, speaking of Marc Hector, he did put out this last update prior to his injury. And I'm not sure what went wrong this year with Marc Hector. Initially, he said he put on 25 pounds of muscle, and then by the next show, he had already lost about 10 pounds. So I honestly believe at this point, he just started chasing conditioning too much. And in the caption of this post, Marc Hector did say this was day 2 of a mock carb loading, so he was not flat here. And taking nothing away from him at all, once again, I just believe he chased conditioning a little bit too much. Seems like he lost muscle along with fat and water. He honestly looks similar to how he looked 2 years ago. Now, switching over to Classic Physique, we have a recent update for Fabian Mayr. And these guys definitely have to watch out. Fabian is my pick to hop into that top 5 this year. And as I always mention, a lot of people forget that Fabian actually beat Ramon Dino to qualify for last year's Olympia. Now, granted, Ramon has improved a lot since then, but it's still worth mentioning. I'm excited to see Fabian on stage this year, and these guys have to bring their A game, specifically Breon Ainsley. These young guys are up and coming. Now, switching over to 212, we have a HD video of Peter Molnar from the Prague Pro. Now, if you guys watched my wrap-up, I was a little bit harsh on him. I was favoring more Thomas Tabasier, but that was only because I hadn't seen good footage. And I think now is a great time to continue my rant on why the Classic Physique should up the weight cap. Even though Peter Molnar won a 212 show, I still think this is a very classic physique. And going into this year's Olympia, I believe he'll be more competitive against, let's say, Mike Summerfield and Fabian Mayr, versus going into 212, taking up his chances against Keon Pearson, Kara Bajo, Ping Young Long. That's just my personal opinion, but up the classic weight cap for these guys. And switching over to Lucas Coelho, these are recent updates from him. And similar to what I was just saying about Peter Molnar, do you guys think he'll be more competitive against a guy like Lucas or a guy like Mike Summerfield? But Lucas is looking incredible right now. Now, of course, he is going to lose a little bit of ground from behind, still needs to make improvements. But I think he more than makes up from that in the front and side poses. I'm excited to see this guy on stage soon. Now, switching over to men's physique, we actually have a recent update from Andre Deiu. I just wanted to share this with you guys. He is one of my favorite competitors in the men's physique division, also coached by Hunter Labrada. He did try to earn a qualification for this year's Olympia at the Texas Pro, but placed second to Daniel Amons. Daniel is a really good men's physique guy, actually won 2 shows this year. Watch out for him at the Olympia. But for some reason, Andre is hitting bodybuilding poses, but still glad to see him working. Now, switching over to Seth Feroce, I thought this was an interesting update. If you guys didn't know, Seth Feroce is a retired 212 bodybuilder. Actually, he was also coached by Hunter Labrada. And I think Seth's career came to an end just because he had some health issues. But Seth is looking great in retirement. And if you guys didn't know, he is the owner of Axe and Sledge, who sponsors Keon Pearson. Now, do I think Seth will ever make a comeback to a bodybuilding stage? Probably not. Do I think people will use this update and try to say he is going to make a comeback? Absolutely. And ending this video here with the archive of the day, you guys let me know in the comment section below which legendary bodybuilder is this. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from GOAT Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.